Hi, pull up your favorite beverage and let's get started. So I've got some watercolors and these are my metallics. So I'm just adding some water to them. I just misted them to get them activated. And what are we making? Well, look what I've been doing. I've been sanding some food packaging, so I took the shine off so that glues and paints and whatever I want will stick to it more. And these are the ones that have this cool back. And oh, see, there's dust on it. This is why I do the dusting or the sanding outside. Because, man alive, you'd be surprised. Look how much dust comes off. Well, I guess there's another step to this that I didn't even realize. But let's just do it. Oh, it's going everywhere. Oh, Julie, Julie, Julie. So how are you? Are you getting your crafting done? Are you making anything for the holidays? Well, maybe this will be a project that you feel like, yeah, I can do this. And it would be appreciated by people. It's something you could tuck inside your Christmas cards as a little special gift. Oh, yeah. No kidding. That's what we're going to be making. So what are we making? Look at that. Unbelievable. Well, good we found out now. Okay, so we're going to be making gift tags. Yep. And gift tags, they're a little different than the typical kind of tags that we do. Now, my family and relatives do celebrate Christmas, so they're going to be in the red and green family. But if you're a Hanukkah person, then they could be blue and silver. Or if you're another type of celebration at this time, then you can use the colors that, you know, suit you. Just make it for yourself. Sorry for my arm. I'm just moving the light that's for you. Okay, so I'm going to start out with knowing this is a good back. I'm not going to back these. Now, I realize there's a little boo-boo here. I'm not going to worry about that, at least not now. I'm going to get these covered. Now, I have 5. I don't think we'll get through 5. We'll leave the boo-boo one aside. And then maybe 3, maybe. We'll get so far anyway with 3. So I'm going to start by book page. Something neutral because we're going to jazz it up. Okay, nothing up my sleeves. Here we go. So I've got different kinds of book page and I've got some music note paper that we're just going to be putting on. Now, I do not intend to wrap these things around. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to wrap what I'm putting over the edge. It's so if there's hanging over, I want to be where you can see me. So if there's hanging over, then it's going to be trimmed off. So I'm just moving these so that I can, ooh, things are just a-flying. Okay, glue, book, paper, glue stick, and I think this glue stick is the one that's just about gone. Do I want to goof with it? No. I'm going to save it because I don't want that to be bothering you while I'm trying to do this. We'll start with a new glue stick, and this guy is going to go to the side because I can goof with that when you're not here. Okay. Back at it. Here we go. Now I picked out a nice square off piece to start out with because I can use that in any of the corners. And these corners are not particularly square. So we don't have to think about having that, you know, too much because see, my paper is just, you know, I cut it with scissors and any kind of a blemish or something I took off. So I've got some old dictionary page from an old dictionary that I bought at the thrift store. And I paid about $1 and it didn't even have a cover. But I just looked at that beautiful fox paper and said, yes, ma'am, I want it. I saved it from the rubbish because I really don't think, unless it was another artist like you and me, I don't think anybody else would have taken it. Here's one of those little pieces that just kind of took off. Let's use it up. I'm already getting sticky. That's okay. That's okay. So, are you feeling the holidays yet? I know that for those in the U.S., we still have Thanksgiving to go, which is a beautiful fall type celebration where we can talk about things that we're grateful for. I like Thanksgiving. I think it's nice, but to tell you the truth, I wish it wasn't so close to Christmas. Now, Canada has their Thanksgiving in October, and that makes a whole lot more sense to me. And I don't know the history of their Thanksgiving. I know what I was taught in grade school, which I don't think was exactly accurate. I also know that I think we can be thankful most any day. But according to my mom, now my mom is still alive. She's 90. She lives in Texas near my brother. My mom was telling me, and us as kids, there's 4 of us, that Thanksgiving was more like the beginning of November or the end or even the middle of October. But one of the presidents, I want to say Eisenhower, but I can't swear to that. I can't swear to any of this, but I can swear that my mom told me this. She said that during World War II, there were young men, obviously overseas, and they would be able to come home for the holidays. Not all of them, but there were some that did come back to the U.S. for the holidays. And to make it so that families could celebrate both Thanksgiving and Christmas while their loved ones were home, or that there would be, you know, like as they would change out, you know, I don't know how it all worked, but let's say, you know, 200 in the United States, and then they went back, and then 200 more came back, you know, that kind of thing. So that during that month of people coming and going, there could be the celebration of both. Well, it's not that way anymore. So if that's the reason, if that's truly the reason why Thanksgiving is so close to the winter holiday, I call it Christmas, then it's time to move it back. I mean, you know, here in the U.S., they've wiped out all kinds of holidays and they've moved all kinds of holidays. I think that's one somebody needs to look at, because the 4th Thursday of, maybe it's the 3rd Thursday of November doesn't really have any significance that I know of to something that happened specifically on that date. And then I think Thanksgiving could shine on its own. But, you know, I'm not queen of the world. Doubt I ever will be. So I'm just, I guess, voicing an opinion out into the ether, and who knows if anyone will even hear it, but it's the way I feel. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. And those of you that live in other areas, well, what is the holiday now? Is there a holiday now? Do you have a Thanksgiving type celebration? I don't know what you guys in Australia do. I kind of know a little bit UK. If there's anything in the form of a day set aside for Thanksgiving in there, I realize, you know, I don't know, freedom from England or whatever, it, you know, happened long before me. But just to have a day where you're thankful for your family, thankful for your home, thankful for your job, and things that have happened to you specifically during the year. It's not a bad idea, right? I don't think it is. But You can let me know in the comments if you think I'm just blowing smoke up my parachute. Who knows? Nothing would surprise me. Okay, we've got this one knocked off. That's one. Okay, set this one aside. Let's get another one going. And, you know, one of the advantages of me sitting here doing this multiple times is that that first one's having a little chance to dry. It won't be bone dry, but it will be better. I do think we can do all three in so much as dry time and what have you, but will we have time as a video? I don't know. We'll just have to see. Sometimes I just seem to work a little faster than others. I guess it all depends on how much I flap my jaws. You know, being with you guys as I do these crafts makes a huge difference in my life, and I enjoy visiting with you. I really do. It's relaxing to me, and I hope it can be perhaps relaxing to you. So all of these word prints that I'm using, they're all not shiny. They're all kind of a newsprinty type paper, and so they will absorb like the watercolors and things that we're going to be using, water-based things. And so for this application, I think it's the best way to go. But if all you have is shiny magazine papers, go for it. Don't let it stop you. Don't let it make you say, oh, well, can't do this. Yeah, you can. Figure it out. Oh, I'm doing the wrong side on this. Look. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We'll be fine. Have you ever made a mistake before? Ha! When haven't I? But it's all good. Yep. It's all fine. So I put out a little survey of the kinds of things that you might be working on this time of year, and I got a few responses. One person said they're going to be making wrapping paper. I'm really excited about that. Let me know how that goes. I like making wrapping paper. I make it year-round. I mean, again, it's one of those things that I tend to make as I need it because I don't have a lot of storage, but it's fun. It's fun, and it can really make a gift unique. It's part of the gift as far as I'm concerned. The outside is as precious as the inside, but I don't expect anybody to save the wrapping paper that I make. I mean, that's just ludicrous. That's hoarding. But, you know, just the thought that was put behind it is important. How about some music note paper? This one doesn't have any of that yet. I'm just taking off the big margins. So is your weather wintry yet? We've had such a variety here in Western Michigan. We've had 70s, we've had 30s, we've had snow, we've had warm, we've had thunderstorms and hail and just all of it. Now, we're at the beginning of November. What is today? Well, tomorrow is the second Tuesday because it's our election day. That's a hot topic. But, yeah, it's our election day, so that's how far we are into the month. Leaves, I would call that done. I'm looking out my window right now. I see one tree far away that's got a few lingering leaves, and they're bright red. But for the most part, That's done. Yep. All right, let's get done with this one. I feel bad when you guys are kind of waiting there. But there are people that have never seen this. And, you know, we got to think of them. I know when people tell me, well, they're not saying it to me, but, you know, when I'm watching a video and they say, well, you know, you can learn this back, whatever, how many, and they may even link it, and this, do I go back? Not often. And even in my own videos, and I've been only doing this like 7 months, I know that my techniques have changed. They're always evolving. They're always changing, having to do what supplies are available, having to do with my most recent purchases in art supplies, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to, here, I'm changing the subject. I don't want to assume that people are going to look back. I almost feel like it's kind of off-putting when you say, well, if you don't know what I'm doing, then just go back a few videos. Well, that's, you know, it's not very welcoming now, is it? I'm just tearing off this edge that had to do with, it was a kind of a spiral bound. And this is a recipe book that I got from the thrift store. One of those church recipe books that's old. I think it's from the 70s. And, but somebody hand typed all this and then sent it to a printer. And they printed it up, and then they sell them usually as some type of a, what would you call it? You know, like a moneymaker for them. But the paper is just perfect, and that font is to die for, because it's, you know, you just don't see fonts like that anymore. Let's see, I want it to go on like that, so glue it like this. I don't even know if you can see me. But I just want this edge to go over. There we go. Okay. There's another one. But this one's going to need it on this side as well. But we're not going to do that now. Let's get another one. And let's do it the right way, huh? So, bottom line, would I call my weather wintry? No. No, not for this part of the state, not where I live. It's not wintry yet. It really is, I guess, autumny. You know, it's a combination of weather. I would say that is kind of a hallmark of autumn, wouldn't you? At least here in the U.S., what we consider autumn. Just like you can get snow in spring, you can get snow in autumn here. And just like extremely warm in the spring, you can get extremely warm in the fall here. All considered within normal. There's a saying, you know, and I think other places have it too, but it's, you know, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. Yeah, well, that does apply here. No doubt. It does. I haven't done any specific holiday shopping yet. I don't really buy that many gifts. I have a grandson. Of course, I'm going to get some gifts for him. And my son and daughter-in-law, the last couple of years, they've said that we should all of us adults in the family should just give to a charity instead of giving to each other, since we all have plenty. And that's not a bad thought. And then what I did, just so that they'd have something to unwrap, I just did kind of stocking stuffers type things, just, you know, for fun, but yet maybe a little something that you wouldn't necessarily buy for yourself, but it's kind of fun to have, you know, things that a woman might have in her purse, or things that my son might use to groom his beard, or, you know, just nice little things. My son likes to collect stickers, and he still has a Pokemon card collection. And sometimes if there's some kind of a thing related to any of that, I will go ahead and pick up things that go in those collections. For him, I think I'm going to give him his journal that I'm making that's going to be for holding stickers. And I think that will be fine. My daughter-in-law, oh, God bless her, she is just so sweet. I like to get her gift cards, which I know sounds like, you know, like you didn't even think about it. But I'll tell you, she keeps them. She catalogs them. She blends them together. And then she's out there, you know, with specific things in mind, you know, and she'll just say, okay, I've got enough gift cards. I've been wanting this. And, you know, maybe it's something that people might consider a little bit extravagant, or, you know, it's not milk. It's not socks. You know, it's something a little bit special. And so to give her gift cards, it's not like giving gift cards necessarily to other people. So I may get her a gift card of some kind. I know the places that she looks forward to, or places that she'll say, hey, let's go to. So yeah, and get her something like that. And then maybe I'll just get her like some costume jewelry, or you know, fun things like maybe a cute cell phone cover type thing. Who knows? Who knows? I did find, well, it was at the Hallmark store, because where I live, we don't really have a post office handy. So there's a post office type place within the Hallmark store, which is so handy. And you can do anything you can do at the post office there, I think, except they don't have like P.O. boxes there. But anyway, they had some really cool key rings on their clearance of the clearance. So I picked one of those up for my son and daughter-in-law. And, you know, they're backpack carriers. And so it's possible that they could just hang it from one of the zipper pulls on their backpacks, or, I mean, there's a lot of ways that they can use that. So, and they're made of pewter, so I mean, they're nice. So I thought that would work out as a nice little something to open. And sometimes the box doesn't really relate in size, shape, or anything to the gift, so that, you know, no guessing what's in it. I've been even known to throw some coffee beans in it or something just to give it a rattle, even though it doesn't have a rattle. The fun of it, you know, make it fun. That's what I say. We may be adults, but there are things that we still enjoy as much now as we did when we were a kid, I promise you. Even if we don't admit it out loud. Okay, how we doing? I got a spot right there. And then just that corner. And then I believe this one's done. Do you mind if I do one more, since I kind of messed up that one? It'll be fine, but I just don't want you to go through the process like that. I think I hear you saying it's okay. Oh boy. Can I just, yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. Oh, well, that's all right. the edge is showing, but when I square these up, it'll be all right. Okay. You said it's okay. Let's do one more. And do the proper side. So have you done any thrifting? Have you been to the op shop or the charity store or the thrift store or maybe a consignment store? You know, that can be a good way to get gifts. It sure can. You know, my mother, she would go to thrift stores. Well, she worked at a thrift store for years. But she would go to thrift stores and she'd find something that was maybe, you know, new or like new, maybe a beautiful sweater. And then she'd go to like a fabric store and buy some really fancy, beautiful buttons and change off the regular, just stock buttons for the extra pretty buttons. And that would be a Christmas gift. And it was appreciated. I thought it was cool. I don't know if anyone didn't like the idea of that, then they didn't say it out loud. But I really don't think people saw that as a bad thing. I thought it was clever. And I thought it was nice because, you know, that takes time to sort that all out. And my mother was she's not dead. My mother's a master laundress. She can take something that's old, hard, looking gray and turn it into just like new, buttery soft. She just made a talent of it. My mother was very in tune to textiles. And I say was, and that sounds terrible. My mom is suffering with dementia. So a lot of these things were more in her past. I know she still loves, they bring her laundry in a laundry basket and she still folds up her clothes. She likes to do that. So, you know, there's that. But anyone who has been involved with dementia at any level, be it your job or your family, you know that the people change and they're not the people that you remember. But, you know, I've always been to say, you don't try to pull a person with dementia into your world. Walk into their world. You know, why remind them? You know, like my father. My father's been dead for, 30 years? If my mother would ask for him, I wouldn't say, well, Mommy's dead. Because that would just bring the whole funeral and everything else back up in her mind. Oh, when? Oh, my gosh. You know, that's just mean. I would just say, well, Mom, I haven't seen him for a little while, but as soon as he shows up, I'll send him in. She'll be satisfied with that. Totally satisfied with that. You know, and she may even ask, is he at work? And, you know, if you don't like to lie, and I can relate to that, you just, I don't know, Mom. I don't know. Might be. You know, and then start mentioning things that, you know, well, Mom, do you remember when Dad used to be on a golfing team? On every Tuesday, he would golf. Oh, yeah, you know, because things in the way back, generally, dementia people remember. So, you know, if you go in the way back, mention, you know, like the house my mom grew up in Detroit. Mom, remember the house on Radnor? Sure. Okay, how many bedrooms? 3. But there were 3 of you. How did that work out? Well, you know, and there you go. You've got a conversation. And no one's feeling threatened. No one's feeling like all they can say is, I don't know, I don't remember. And, you know, of course, bring back happy thoughts, right? That's the way I do it. I've worked in assisted livings where you have memory units and dementia units and things like that. So these aren't all things that I just invented on my own. Of course, there's training, and these are the things that would be suggested in training, and I thought they were good suggestions. As a matter of fact, they work. Yep, they do. So, bet you didn't know you were going to talk about dementia today. Neither did I. But it's because I kept referring to my mom. Oh, bless her heart. Yep. And I'm thankful for my brother. It's one of the things I can be thankful for, because he had planned for many, many years. He knew that he was going to be the first one to retire. And he had, has a very good education. So he, always felt like he'd retire in a position that, as Mom aged, she never remarried after my father died. My mom and dad were both 60 when my father died. That he would bring Mom close to him, and if not with him. And my mom did live with my brother for a while. But the dementia, it made it impossible. My mom she was confused as to where she was, and she was getting to be, she always was a collector, but this was turning into just out and out hoarding, because she didn't know what she had, and she didn't know what she needed. And so she just wanted to save everything. And my brother's house was just becoming so overcrowded. And then my mom ended up in the hospital with a urinary tract infection, which is super common in this age group. But then her dementia really raised its head in a way that my brother just couldn't deny. And it just wasn't safe. There was no way to really make my mom be safe in his home. But she's in a little group home that is near my brother, where there's just a few folks, and many of them have the same type of problems that my mom has and the same challenges. So the people there are used to taking care of folks that have memory loss. And it's nice. I mean, it's the best situation. I certainly can't have my mom live with me. And I have told many people who are looking for an assisted living for their mom or dad, I know how to do this. I'm trained to do this. I cannot bring your mother or your father home to my house and be able to take care of them. Because to create the safe environment and have it still be a home that you can live in comfortably is pretty difficult. It just is. So don't feel guilty if you find you're making that type of a choice for some loved one in your life. There's locks. There's a way that you store things like foods and medicines that people with learning or people with memory loss need. The stove is disabled between cooking sessions and when there's someone not right there in the kitchen observing it. And yet there is cooking where my mother lives, right there, right in amongst. My mother can smell the cooking. My mother can see the cooking. If my mother chooses and is able to safely, she can help with the cooking. Just like she does, as much of the laundry as she's able to do safely. So that's the joy of a smaller home. And there's advantages and disadvantages to it all. Okay, 3 done. Really 4, right? Sorry. But let's bring up one of the first ones that we made. Do I still need the glue book? Well, I can set it within reach. And let's let this one rest and bring up. Here's the first one we did. And yeah, you can just that little bit of time makes such a difference. And this was like the 3rd one we did. I don't know. Okay, next step. I'm going to use some gesso, and I got a stencil here. Now, there's no way I'm going to, plop this on here like this, because you could, but what I was thinking is more to get some of these smaller details, instead of trying to create, because it's all going to be cut up. And not all this is going to be able to have some of this on it, but just here and there. So I've got my Liquitex gesso, and I'm going to put a little on a paper plate and get it open. See if I can get this off. Not really, not too effectively, but anyway, just get a little. I can always use more. Liquid acrylics, always shake them. I did. I've got a little cosmetic sponge. So I'm just going to, and those are cute, but they don't really equal much, do they? So I'm going to just bring that up because now I am covering more of it. And let's see, we got a little fuzz here. Let's see if I can get that off of there. There we go. Okay, let's start putting on some gesso. Now, you're not going to necessarily see this a whole lot, and that's okay. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And if it's not a perfect coverage, don't worry. Do the best you can. Just do the best you can. But we're getting some detail, some interest, some pattern in here. And we're still working in neutrals. So it's the book page color with the white gesso. And the gesso goes on more opaque than it dries. So the book page will still shine through. But it will be subdued a little bit. But only where the gesso hits. Okay, I need to add a little more. And if the stencil moved a little bit, don't worry. Now, whatever I used pink on here, some kind of a watercolor, can you see? It's going to make more of a pink tone. It's fine. Yeah, I promise you, it's going to be fine. Talk about subtle. It will be subtle. All right, where can I hold this and not necessarily have my hands directly in it? Bounce, bounce. The more it bounces, the more gesso I'm going to get on without really creating the patterns. So that's why I try to limit the bouncing. Okay, this one's good. Now again, I realize you cannot always see, but when we do the next step, you'll see. Okay, set this one aside. Gesso dries extremely fast. So here's another one. Let's do it gesso side up. And this is the way I do them. You know, I don't do just one. Now for this one, I think what I might do, instead of trying to just move it down. Getting it on my shirt. That's why I picked this shirt. There's those little guys. I can get those. All right, I need a little more gesso. So, what is it today? Coffee or tea? I've got coffee. I tried something yesterday. I tried it once before, and I liked it. But there are some people, Marry Small Art's one of them, who has shown her cup of coffee, and she had little marshmallows floating in it. So yesterday, for a treat, I tried floating some little marshmallows in mine. It was nice. It was nice. It gave the coffee, you know, just a different flavor, and it was great. It's sweet, of course, so if you like that dark roast flavor, well, that probably wouldn't be for you, but okay. One more. Yep. Here we go. Oh, wrong way. There we go. I think I'm going to go ahead and give myself just a little more gesso, and that way I won't be pouring in the middle of it all. Okay, pull up the sleeves here. Maybe on this one, I'll just kind of work with that center circle. What do you think of that? That'll give us a different look. And maybe this set will have the least amount of the gesso. Hey, variety is the spice of life, right? Right. Kind of snowflakey, huh? Okay, put some down here, and they may be overlapping. That's fine. Because again, think of this. This is going to be gift tags. We're going to be cutting these more than anything else that we've ever made on my channel. So you're not going to be seeing real specific patterns. Or if you do, it's going to be just on this one tag, maybe this 2 tags, but not for the most part. Okay. Now, I know you can't see this very well, but it's got a nice kind of over-covering of the gesso. So, I've got the 3 here, and I'm going to go right to this one. This was the one we did first. I would say just by looking at it, it's almost dry. I'm just taking the part of my little cosmetic sponge that didn't have any gesso on it, and I just kind of blotted up a little bit of that. All right, that's good. Let's set this aside. I'm going to grab, because I don't want all this black. That's from the printer's ink. Combination of the printer's ink and then the glue, just literally pulling that up. But I would rather not have my cards have unexpected black fingerprints. Now, will it be a disaster? No. But you know what I mean. Just, it's not something that I thought, you know, oh, I hope I can get some black fingerprints on this. Of course not. All right. So, and yes, I use baby wipes. And I know the consequences of that when it comes to our environment. But as I've said before, when it comes to baby wipes, if I'm using rags, I'm going to have to use water and chemicals to get them clean in between. That has its own impact, and the electricity to do it. So yeah, I use baby wipes, but I understand why they're not the best. Same as paper towels. I use those too. Okay, now I am going to go with either green or red on these, but not both. And the reason why not both is because green and red together pretty much give you brown. So with these liquidy colors. Now, if you remember way back at the beginning, I did activate the shimmer paints, and I'm going to be adding some of that as well. So let's start out with red. This is a Tim Holtz spray stain, and this one is called Barn Door, and it came in a dauber. I got it from Ranger, and it was in a grab bag. You know, it was like a mystery thing. Wow, this is covering it all up. That's fine. That's totally fine. Okay, and let's do another red one. We'll do 2 red and 1 green. Sure. This one is the wettest of them all, so let's try this one. Yeah, this one's really dry. All right, red again. Maybe not so much this time. Could always add more. Yeah, I want more. Because again, these are small. So I want every tag to have some semblance of red on it. Okay. And now the last one. Oh, where did I put? Oh, I put it here. All right. This one is going to get the green. Now I'm going to just take my paper towel and give a little blot. This is really the only place I see that's quite, well, it's not quite wet, but it's wet. All right. And let's get the green. This color is called Dirty Martini. I think it's a cool, almost like an evergreen kind of green. I think it's pretty. Now, do we have a little green everywhere? I think we can use just a touch there, touch there. And now can you see the pattern? I would think you can see the patterns more. All right, pick this up. And as with always when I use inks, I've got everything but the dinnerware all covered in ink. And this will not get it all up, but I promise you, if I do this, then when I come back later with the real cleaning cloth, it really makes it a lot easier for me to clean it. So I appreciate you letting me just take this little bit of time. All right, let's get out the shimmer paints. I did give them a watering, and I'm going to do it again. Shimmer paints. This brand is called Paper Fashion. They don't make it anymore, but it was an American Crafts product. I'm going to be using, even though these are watercolor, I'm going to be using my acrylic brushes because I want to get a lot on, and so I'm going to be kind of scrubbing the brush. I'm not going to be treating the brush as friendly as you should. So, and if I remember right, which I did, this brush tends to be awfully soft, but it will hold a lot of water, so hopefully it'll hold a lot of this gold. And I'm going to start out with some gold and see what we get. Nice big ones, some little fine ones, a little bit of everything. The reason why I'm not using the shimmer sprays is I really didn't have a red or a green color. And I didn't want to start throwing purple on top of this. Now, purple and silver, that can really be a nice holiday combo, but it just wasn't what I'm looking for now. But if that's what you had in mind, you go for it. Now I'm just going into the other gold. There's two gold shades here. And just putting some of it on. And now I'm going to rinse my brush, and I'm just going into one of the kind of just a shimmer. And I don't know which one it is. I just picked one that looked kind of wet. And this you're not going to probably see much of. You're just going to have to trust me that it's there. But when you hold these in your hand, it makes a really nice impact. Okay, set this one to dry. And let's bring up another one. Here's a red one. And I'm going into the gold. These paints all need more activation than other types of watercolor. Ah, now we're getting some even bigger blotches, which is fine. Let's get some more. And the closer you are with your brush to your project, the larger the splatters will be. The higher up you go, the less of the splatters, or the finer. I wouldn't say less, but just a finer. But I'm all about the big blobs this time. Okay. All right. And let's let this one dry. And these may need a little bit of drying. We'll just have to see. But this is worth it. Going back to the first gold that I was using. And I don't remember the names of these. I'm not even sure that they gave it to me, because it's one of the reasons why I made it a swatch card, because I wanted to see what each one did. More gold. This is the other gold. Tap, 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 tap. That's that, Julie. Okay. Get into the shimmery paints. Just trying to load up my brush. I'm into 2 of them. Yep. Okay. Good. Rinse out my brush. This one is dry. Get a paper towel or 2 or 3. I'm going to get this brush out of the water and give it a good squeeze so that that can dry. These brushes can get out of the way. This can get out of the way. And I'm going to set this down and then just go at it again with, this time I'm just getting the wet off. I can get the gold and the shimmer off later. I'm just drying it. Okay. Now, I'll bring up the first one, which was the green. Oh, when it dries, or as it dries, you do get more going on. But I can absolutely see that I am going to need to, was I talking where you can, I do need to heat it up. Here we go. Just a little bit. Okay. I went ahead and I dried all 3. So you don't have to sit through that. Next step, trimming off the edges. Trimming off all the pieces that are hanging over the edge. And I'm pretty pleased if there's any like spillage of ink or whatever we used, gesso, glue, it's not on the other side. So that's nice. If it is, it's not a tragedy though. I mean, it's just more of the red and the colors that you have. And if you look at the back and you just think, ugh, well then, you know, go ahead and cover it. It's all right. Okay, so what's the next step with this? I need my cutter. I've got it here. I need to square it up. So the way I do that, do you see these lines on here? So I want to line it up, but see, I'm way off of the edge. Well, I can line it up with this one because the top, you know, like lining up the top is really not going to help because it's just as crooked as the rest of it. Okay, I think if I don't cut off enough, then it's just so hard. But I think that's pretty good. Oh, of course I gave it a big jiggle. Well, let's just go for it. All right. And now I can rest this up at the top and I should be able to trim the rest off and they should all be nice and square. That's how I square them up. Now, the reason why this is dragging is because, well, for one thing, I'm sure this isn't the sharpest blade in the house, but I'm going to just stop. It's because when I cut such a little bit off, it does that, but it isn't the sharpest blade. I mean, I admit that completely. All right, now this end is straight, so I should be able to, there we go. Okay, so now this one is all squared up, and I'm not going to be cutting any more off of it just for the sake of making it square. So now I'm going to start some decorating, and I am going simple, simple, simple. So this one is red. So I've got some green like these. I've got green with black. I've got green with red. So I can use some of these. And yeah, I don't have a container yet for them. I can talk about that later. But I am in the process. So we've got these that we can use. And I am just going to get my Poscas. And I'm going to pick out a red. And there's 2 greens. And then I've got a gold pen. I don't think I'm going to use that yet, though. So I am just going to be making some green things that might make you think of Christmas, like little green balls or things like that. I'm just giving it a little activation, give it a shake. And I don't have a specific place. Like, you know, I don't know where I'm going to be cutting, so I'm just doing this random. But if it's like red and green polka dots, then it's not even, I'm not going in a polka dotty pattern. I think it could look cool. Now, I am picking up some of the red because that is water-based. So it's just like watercolor. So as the acrylic moves on top, it wants to pick some of that up. And all I'm doing is just, I give my little tip a wipe over on that paper towel. So we've got these lighter green dots. Are they the same size? No. Are they fine? Yes. So I hope I'm not blocking your vision. Okay, there's one start. I'm going to grab this other green. And maybe I'll make some triangles, kind of Christmas tree looking. And again, I don't know where these are going to get cut. So how this is going to all look, I'm not sure. But just having it red and green definitely reads Christmas to me. The same as if you did all blue and then you were using a white acrylic marker or white gel pen or white acrylic paint or whatever you want to do. You know, it would still look holiday. This is running awfully dry, so I'm just activating it a little bit more. And maybe the green is emptying out. I don't know. It's running awfully dry. I'm risking a big blob of paint coming down right on my project. You know, I do use the green a lot because I'm doing leaves and stems and that kind of stuff. So if this was running out, wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. I have another one. I just don't have it right here with me. That's okay. We've got one red, I think, and 2 greens, so we'll be okay. Do you think I can squeeze another row of triangles out? We'll try. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, it's just right here, my brown Posca. Yeah, well, of course, it's eluding me. There we go. And I'm just going to put some little trunks on these guys real quick. Okay, I think I got them all. All right, go back to the light green. Maybe I'll make some, you know, I'm thinking like stars and stuff. Holly leaves, I think that's going to take a long time, and I don't think anybody wants to sit through that. But when you're working on yours, and, you know, I think it's a good idea. I'll try a couple. Just kind of pokey leaves. How do those look to you? Do they look like holly leaves? A few more? Now, if you're saying to me, I can't draw. I cannot draw. I am not going to make circles. I can't do it. You can go ahead and get yourself some sequins or whatever else you have and glue them on top. You can do that. Stickers. And put them on random. Cut out magazine pictures from the holidays or something that represents what you might be doing during this gift-giving season. All kinds of things you can do. You don't have to draw holly leaves and triangles. But even if you were using a brush and acrylic paint, and the only reason why I'm not is, again, dry time. How, you know, you guys already have got some dry time in here that I'm going to hopefully get edited out. But I just know that it's the reality, but I know it can just kind of drive a person nuts. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is start at the beginning and just give these holly leaves a little vein right in the middle of them. Okay. All right. And now I don't have a whole lot going on down here. I'm not going to worry about it. That's just fine. Let's set this one aside, let it rest. And I'm going to grab the green one. And then we'll just do a red one and a green one. So now I'm going to do, well, let's trim it up. Because if you don't do this step first, you can end up drawing over something that really is just being thrown away. And that's kind of a shame. So we don't want to do that. I'm just trimming off all the part that when I was doing the collage work, it was hanging over. So let's get rid of these and get the trimmer. And do this to the best of my ability to kind of, the first one is the trickiest one. But once you get it, then the rest should be easier. Oh boy, why doesn't that want to cut there? We'll go down just a little bit. Wonder what was wrong with that spot. Silly thing. Okay, now I should be able to back this right up to the top here and have things be square and straight. And there we go. And there we go. One more. And there. Okay, done with that for right now. Now, red. Give it a shake. And let's go. How about some stars? Almost reminds you of a flag. That's okay. Whoop. What's going on here? There. That's fine. Okay. Now, what's another thing? We could do balls again. Having a marker that's got more paint in it makes this a lot easier. I think both of those green ones are dying, and I just need to... And I did find a place on Amazon. You know, Amazon is multiple suppliers. But there's a supplier now, and I didn't see it before. Maybe it was there and it just eluded me, where I can buy Poscas one at a time. Is it the best economical way? It isn't. You pay more per marker, but when you only need 2, why buy a whole new set? That in the long run can end up costing you more, and you end up with a lot of duplicates that you're not using. And might I try another brand? Maybe. I'll tell you, the other brands that I've looked at so far, either the barrels were so narrow that I just can't imagine how long they would last. And then some of them just have a big old chisel nib like you would use to make a garage sale sign. I just don't think that's going to be helpful. All right, something else that's red. I really can't do candy canes because they're, oh, I know what I can do. Candy canes are red and white. And if you don't have red and white, I just don't think you're going to get the right punch that you're looking for. Maybe that's just me, but it is how I honestly feel about it. And I don't want to draw something right now so complicated like a Santa Claus hat or something like that. I'm trying to keep this more on the simple side, time-wise, and also what people are willing to do. Now, these stars, these little balls, these little different shape of star, these are not hard. I can't draw a straight line. Yeah, you can. I can't draw a stick man. You probably can. There. Good. And if it turns out that you don't like it, hey, what are you out? What are you losing? All right, now to cut these, I'm going to start out by cutting this maybe right between the stars and the dots. And I may get some stars or dots. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to do like that. Leave this aside for a minute. And now I'm going to just, it's whatever size I want. These are gift tags. There's no rhyme nor reason. There's no rules. Maybe what I'll do is do my best to kind of cut it in half like that. And then cut each of these in half. Is it perfect? No. But can you see how these are starting to look already now that we've cut them? And we're not done. Okay? So that's one thing you can do. Now, I'm not saying run to the store, but if you have punches, okay, I've got a 2-inch circle. Won't that be good? Well, let's just cut some this way. And what I'm going to do is I open the back so that I can see what I'm putting in, so that I can try to put it as close to the edges as I can before I punch. And let's punch again. Won't these be cool? Of course they will. Okay, maybe one more. All right, so we've got 3 like that. I think that's fun. How about this monster? But hey, if you're giving away a bicycle, you know, there's a lot of parents that are, you know, they've got a whole dollhouse or something. Well, this could be cool. Or if you're giving away, let's say, a gift tag, you could really spice up the decorating of this. Oh, Julie. Did I get all the way through it? I don't think so. We may just have to settle for it, but I don't know why it wouldn't go through. Well, let's see what we got. It only went halfway through. Oh, well. Things like that happen. We'll just go ahead because now I've got some weird little cuts in there. Let's just cut those off. Not gonna cry over it. It's no reason. Just cut this off. And then come in here with this punch. And we'll get another one of these out. There we go. See, that's how you do it. Silly old punch. Can I get one over here? Sure can. All right. Well done. Now, I have an oval punch that I may save for that space, so I'm not going to throw that away. But now, let's see what we all have here. No, let's not. Let's get the other color out. Here's our red one. And let's see what we get from this. All right, I think I'm going to go with the holly leaf part. Well, look, there's a whole section down here that I just seem to have forgotten. I'm going to cut that off. And I'm going to turn that into a couple of tags. What do you say? Kind of put it in the middle. All right. Small, but hey, if you're giving away a diamond earrings, you may not need something that big. And let's do this with the holly leaves, and then maybe half. How about that? Okay. And leave one bigger square, and then maybe cut this one in half. You know, switch it up. Switch it up. Okay. Guess I'll keep all those red ones together. Now we've got this, and we've got the Christmas trees. And I'm going to cut right here. And I think I'm going to do this one in half-ish. I hope you can pick up on some of this shimmering because it is there. And then maybe cut this one in half. Good. And cut this one in half. Good. Alrighty. And then maybe we'll do some circles out of this one. And we're not done. We can put this aside. Good. And good. All right. Now let's take a look at what we've got. We've got all these that are rectangles or square. And then we've got our round ones. So with these, I'm taking the corner punch. You've got to be sure it's nested in there good. It cut it, but there's a little piece left. I'll get it. Okay. It's just where the paper folded instead. Look, now see the difference between this one and this one? That's why I like to do the corner punching. I'm not going to make you sit through all of these. I can corner punch these on my own. Now, sometimes if it's not cutting clean, it's because it's got some caught inside of it. But I had just emptied it before we started, so I don't think that was the problem. But hey, you never know. The first punch might have been a killer. And there. And there. Okay, and then I'll just do two of the red ones. We'll do the big square one. I'm just getting a little, oh, for goodness sakes. There we go. Okay, and I'll get a rectangle here. Oh, it's as good as it's going to get. Well, that didn't cut at all. There we go. Okay, so then I will be decorating these like all, but I'm just showing you a couple like this that we'll work on. Okay, so now you can just kind of look and say, well, let's say on this one, I'm going to add just a stripe on these balls. Like that. And maybe on these trees, I'm just going to add some dots. You know, you can just kind of spruce them up a little bit, however you want. And on this one, I'm going to now add some of the red berries. There. Just like that. And then I think these stars are fine. These little polka dots. Maybe I'll go ahead and just outline them. These little details will make a difference. Just like that. Whoops. Okay. And maybe on this one, I'll do the same. Okay, and maybe to these guys, I'll just put a green dot in the middle. There. Oh, how about this? Okay. And then I'm going to take punch, and there's really no prescribed place where it needs to go. So are you saying, Julie, is there more? Yes. That's what makes these special. Okay, so I've got, now wherever I can see that the edge is a little rough, I'm just gonna trim it up. All right, I think we're looking good on these. I think they're good. Got a gold pen, see? And I'm gonna get a little piece of paper. Plop these on here. And I'm just gonna take this gold and go around the edge. Not doing much for me. I'm going to try it this way. Now, I didn't know how this pen might go. It's too dry. I'm going to play with that later. Okay, so what's your plan B? No problem. Get your distress ink or any ink. I've got these because it is a neutral color. And I am going to go with the vintage photo. And here we go. Oh, yeah. Nice trim. I would have liked the gold, but I didn't realize that that gold pen was kind of dried up. And I'm not going to play with it right now. Now, if you have maybe some embroidery thread, which is what I'm probably going to be putting in these, leftover yarn, baker's twine, jute rope, I mean, just whatever you have, go ahead. Ribbon, if you've got some wrapping paper ribbon, whatever. But I will put a little something in them, and I think you'll find that you'll like them better. Especially if you're going to make some of these and maybe tuck them into a little Thanksgiving card, and then whoever's going to use it can use them on their holiday gifts. Wouldn't that be nice? Maybe especially if you are in the U.S. and you're going for a Thanksgiving dinner, that could be your thank you card to the hostess, right? Or the host. I think that would be nice. But I do like finishing them off with some kind of an edge. It really makes a difference. One more. Are you thinking while I'm inking? Are you thinking about how you're going to be making some of these? And while you're thinking, consider hitting the like. It helps my new channel so much. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And that way you can ring the bell and get notifications. All right, I'm just going to tap these off. And get rid of this because it's got those little crumbs. And now, the last thing, the last thing we're going to do on these, and like I said, get yourself some leftover yarn, embroidery floss, string, something, and you can put that through. But I'm just going to take a black Sharpie. Oh, why am I shaking it? And on this back, I'm going to put to, ... and from, ... And there are your little gift tags. To, from. And that way, if a person wonders, what on earth? Hey, but as far as I'm concerned, these are pretty enough that you could string them together and make a garland. There are all kinds of things. You can do all kinds of things with these. Okay, which ones did I do already? These are fun. They're fun to make, and they're fun to have. Some of the ones that you buy are so tiny. Okay. And we've got so many more. And you know, those weren't big packages that we had. So I'm just going to lay these out here. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that it's something you'd consider doing? I think they're fun. Fun to make and fun to look at. All right. So please consider liking, subscribing, and hopefully I'm going to see you in another video real soon.